Hey, Islanders, honey, listen, we got to talk about some things. And earlier today, I came to you guys with the review of the interview that Miss Bria did over there with Screen Rant. Well, it looks like my girl Seriniti is also doing an interview or has also done an interview with the Today Show. So we're going to get into her interview as well. So shout out to the people over in my Discord that ended up dropping the link and things over there. So let's go ahead and talk about this. All right. So Love Island USA contestant Serenity Springs talks Chaz calculated side and her connections with Tyler. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Let me check my audio real quick. Oh, audio is doing great. Okay, cool. I had to check my audio, y'all. But anyway, so the 28-year-old bartender from New Orleans spoke to the Today Show about the disheartening recoupling that sent her home. And I hate that for my girl. You got sent home, but I feel like we saw each other, girl, and we've been saw Chaz from the beginning. They said last week on season 4 of Love Island USA, viewers watched fan favorite Serenity Springs get dumped from the island. Springs left the villa after Chaz Bryant chose to recouple with the new arrival, Kat Gibson. Listen, this is going to be real interesting whenever Chaz is out of the villa and just everybody's out of the villa to see how these individuals respond to each other. Now, I don't know in U.S. history, Love Island US, if they've ever had a reunion, right? But now that the show is over there on Peacock, I would love to see them actually have some type of reunion. Like, let's recap this stuff because a lot of people are going around having these interviews and things. And I mean, they get a chance to have their say, and I love it because it's not censored like it would be on a reunion. However, okay, I would like to see people say what they got to say and getting the actual people's reactions, okay, the things that they have to say about certain people, like Miss Bria coming from Miss Zeta. I would love to see what Zeta's reaction would have been, as well as Seriniti, because she also felt like Seriniti never had her back for real, or at least Serenity wasn't close enough for her, or didn't have her best interest, or something like that Bria mentioned in her interview. So I would love to see what Serenity had to say to that. But anyway, let's go ahead and keep going and get into the rest of this article. They're saying that Bryant's, which is Chaz's decision shocked fans at home because his speech seemed to suggest that he would be picking Serenity. However, Serenity revealed in an interview with Today on Monday that she was not surprised. It seemed like you were, because we the hell were. She says that based on some of Brian's actions that weren't shown on television, she says there is a side of Chaz that I've seen while in the villa that wasn't really seen out to the world. Girl, let me tell you something. It don't matter if it was seen, because I feel like a lot of us already saw. Hello? It doesn't matter if it was seen, because I feel like a lot of us already saw. The 28-year-old bartender from New Orleans later told the Today Show that he would say little things that I would know were very calculated. Okay, this is what she's saying. Now, below, Serenity discusses the red flags that she noticed in her relationship with Bryant. Okay, with Chaz early on. Come on. They said below, Serenity discusses the red flags that she noticed in her relationship with Chaz early on. Let's get into what those things were, because the moment he entered the villa and started over there, like, let me cook for her, my black queen, and all this other stuff, like, I knew he was trying to get on the side of the audience, okay? Now, she also shares if she has spoken to Tyler since she left the villa. So she's going to talk about that, who else she had a spark with, and which couples she predicts will struggle during Casa Amor. Okay, so here's, I guess, the statements and the questions. They say, you've had a few days now where you've been out of the villa. Have you fully processed that you were on Love Island USA? She says, I think I'm still gathering like reality right now, even though I was on a reality TV show. But being back in an actual reality is like something that I'm trying to adjust to. She says there's a lot of people messaging me and a lot of things going on, but I think it's starting to finally hit that I was on the show. I mean, this was a dream. I manifested this. I had a dream board years ago and it had me on the show. So we're feeling very blessed. Shout out to you, Serenity girl. I see why you kind of left the villa like sad, because you're leaving friends, but not sad at all, because you knew that you had accomplished what you put on your board. And I love that, because I have a vision board as well. And girl, when I tell you stuff has been coming off the board, stuff has been coming up off the board. Okay. So shout out to God, shout out to the vision, shout out to manifestation, girl. Get in your bag. But anyway, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Okay. So they say you were definitely a fan favorite. There's been a lot of tweets discussing how disappointed fans were in Chaz's recoupling speech before choosing Kat. Did you think that the speech was for you? And she says, I did give Chaz 3 reasonings and rulings that I would like to keep for our relationship, especially moving into the recoupling. Don't embarrass me, be kind, and don't blindside me. These were 3 things that she told him. Those are literally the 3 things I spoke about right before recoupling. So to have him do that was very disheartening. But there's a side of Chaz that I've seen while in the villa that wasn't really seen out to the world. So it wasn't quite surprising, is what she says. But it always is hurtful to have someone do that when you ask and request otherwise. Okay. So that is kind of messed up. I feel like he did not have to make her think he was sold on her. Like, I'm gonna choose you, you're not gonna go home. I feel like he could have at least been on some I'm not sure, it's up in the air. I really like Kat. Like I don't know. It's really up in the air. And I really won't know about my decision until I make it, as I stand up. If I do eliminate you, it's no hard feelings. I really like you. It could be that I saw something more in her, or vice versa. If I choose you, whatever. He could have kind of kept it in limbo, but not sell her on I'm not gonna eliminate you, I'm gonna choose you and all this other stuff. And I feel like he did embarrass her when he eliminated her, and not so much as eliminating her, but his speech, the speech that his ass sat up there and gave, like he was picking her and all this other bullshit. Okay, knowing he wasn't for to pick her. And then he definitely blindsided her, in my opinion. Maybe he was being as kind as he could be, girl, but I feel like to embarrass her is not being kind. So yeah, he crossed all 3 of those, in my opinion. Y'all stand for Chaz as much as you want to. Let's keep going. So the next thing they ask is, you did use the word blindside. He didn't give any indication before the recoupling that he had feelings for Kat and wanted to pursue her. So then she says no. Oh, come on, Seriniti, give it to the people. Give it to girl. I wish this was an in-person interview so we could really see her reactions and what she has to say, but this is an article. She says no. He made it very clear that he was interested in me. Okay. She says he told me he would leave the villa if I left. The lies, the cap. This is what we saw from the beginning. The beginning. Okay. What else does he say? And I told him to watch his words. And I kept explaining to him, like, if you want to show me and re-secure, you can always just say you like me. You don't have to say like these absurd and very high level things. Okay, going to the extreme is what he would do, in my opinion, girl. That's what I'm seeing that she's saying. He will go above and beyond when it just really had to be like this. Like, it's really like, you really don't have to do that, because when you do that, it makes it seem like you're doing too much and it doesn't come off as though it's genuine. Talk about, man, if you leave, man, I'm leaving the villa. And it's funny because you and your coupling ended up being the least genuine people there, and you stood up and gave this whack ass speech talking about how you're the most genuine guy in the villa, except for you ain't. That's the sad part. But what else is going on? So she says, because leaving the villa with someone is equivalent to saying I love you. Ooh, she says, in the real world. So leaving the villa is equivalent to saying I love you in the real world. So I would tell him to be careful with those words. And that's why my references were words hold value, because he would say things like, I would leave the villa, it's just you, I'm never turning my head, and all these things. And I would tell him there's a bombshells coming in. This is Love Island, baby. Like, they don't bring in just some average girls, they bring in top tier. Girl, listen, this season they was definitely bringing in average. Let's get it together, ma'am. Okay, now we finna not let you know. Okay, Maddie was definitely, girl, listen, ma'am. Okay, now the dudes are definitely average, and they tiptoeing on below average. Let's be honest. Okay, when it comes to these bombshells, or at least the casa amor, because I think they brought in some pretty handsome guys for the bombshells, but girl. Okay, but anyway, we appreciate you giving the ladies a compliment. But anyway, she said, so I let him know that I was open. And then he changed his views and said that he was willing to be open, which I agreed with. We both shouldn't have been like that, but it was just really disheartening to know what I mean, I'm glad I followed my gut and knew that his words weren't following his actions. And she was right. Like, he was just, girl, Chaz was fake. Like, period. So then they go on to ask her, they say, you mentioned during your exit that you had seen Chaz's calculated side. What did we not see that you were experiencing in the villa that made you think this is a red flag? Okay. So this was a question that came to her. All right. So she says, I mean, on the second day that we were coupled up, the first thing he asked me was, if there's a recoupling, you're choosing me, right? Question mark. She says, and it was very uncomfortable for me to have that question. I think he was also very premature because we hadn't had time for us to get to know each other. Ooh. So yes, I'm glad she's saying this because it's exactly how I see it. And I'm gonna keep reminding y'all. He saw an end. And so he went there. And I can't 100% blame Chaz for that because a lot of people do. A lot of people they see they find a crack and they go straight to that. So that's what he did. Homeboy came on the show so he can stay on the show. That's why everybody's there. Okay. So it was, she says it was very uncomfortable for me to have that question. She says, I think he was also very premature because we hadn't had time for us to get to know each other. She says, I just lost Tyler yesterday. I was really, really, really bummed. Girl, girl, stop, because you about to make us, ma'am, we gonna bring it here and we gonna bring it here. You need to cut it out. Talking about you was really bummed. You couldn't be bummed about a person that didn't want you, ma'am. Girl, that boy didn't want you. All right, bummed about not having Tyler in the villa because Tyler's fine. What do you mean Tyler's fine? Like, just that's why you want him because he look good? Are you okay? Are you okay? No, ma'am. That boy didn't, girl. Anyway, so he's my superhero. That's what she said. Not Tyler. Was he really a superhero? I guess, girl. Because Tyler started to say he wasn't really interested in you. He wanted to get to know him a little bit of Maddie or something like that, girl. So I mean, was it really? Oh, okay, we're gonna keep going. All right. She says, and then I was just starting to see how he would do more public manners and I would do private manners with him, and then he would just always play this victim role with me. Ooh, ooh, let's get into it. Oh, he'll always play this victor role with me. Then I would try to ask him, like, can we have conversations? He was just very into making sure we had a look for it. Not him having a look for it. She says, and I know we came on the show to find love and for some of us fame, but I really came here for love. So that wasn't a priority for me to sit there and make this image that's not true. Ooh, girl, this was some good here. Girl, this is good. This is good because it just makes me feel more validated in what I've said. Like, duh. Okay, I'm loving this. Tell us the truth, girl. She said, so that was a priority for me to sit there and make this. She said it wasn't a priority for her to sit there and create this type of image that he wanted the people to see on the outside, in so many words. Okay. She says, I'm Seriniti year round and 24/7 villa round. Okay. She says, so it was just hard to have this backside of him. He would say little things that I would know were very like calculated. And it was just very uncomfortable at times because I couldn't go to my girls during the time when his sister Bria Bryant was there. So I didn't have a safe space to go. I didn't have my partner to go to, and then to not be able to have my girls, it started feeling very isolating. Did it? I would like to see this footage. How did it start to feel isolated? Because if you let Bria tell it, Bria felt like it was very isolating for her. And I also find it interesting that you and Bria would have a lot of conversations where you would find out something. So you mean to tell me you couldn't even have a conversation with Zeta? Or was Zeta starting to form a closer friendship with Chaz? Like, what was happening? That's not, that's very interesting to me. Okay. But let's go ahead and keep going. Okay. Let me make sure I read all of it. So y'all understood that at one point she was talking about Tyler, him being her hero. And then she would switch over and she started to talk about her relationship with Chaz and how he would play a victim role. Okay. And sometimes she just wanted to have conversations. Okay. He would do more public manners and she would do things in private. Okay. With him. So, hey, listen, it's giving very much fraud. So they said, you mentioned Tyler. You coupled up with Felipe, Tyler, and Chad. She says, I was the queen of recoupling. I was the recoupling queen. They said, would you say that Tyler was your strongest connection in the village? She said, yeah, Tyler was definitely. Like I said, you could come swoop a BIT up. She says, Tyler was literally like such a hero to me. He came in, and I don't think at first I was interested in Tyler because I have a thing with people having long hair. I don't like fighting over the blow dryer. Okay. She says, "Girl, I know you're not talking about flying over the blow driver. Girl, you've been flying over this wig for many years, and we're not going to continue to have it. Because every time when I go on your page, I cannot find a picture of just you. Okay, I got to find a picture of you and this wig. So let's be, girl, not you over here fighting over the blow dry, ma'am. I can see if you said fighting over the brush, because that's what we saw in your hand most of the time when you was on the show. But you're not going to sit up here and play with us, okay? Let's keep going. All right, so she don't want to fight over no and blow dry. She said, so I did mention that, but he wowed me in our conversations. Everybody was very much being like, oh, that's Maddie's type. That's Maddie's type. And so everybody was leaning toward Maddie, getting to know him. But I liked his smile, is what she says. He was having said he was definitely something that brought spirits to me in the villa. And so having him leave so quickly, it hurt my heart a lot. It was very hard to bounce back from that. And you know what? When I go back and I reflect, I could see kind of Seriniti being like the outsider a little bit, because I feel like she kind of took on that role when they first got into the villa. When she stepped up and she got embarrassed, she stepped back, she stepped up no more for any more guys on the very first day. Then Felipe and them went off on that day, and then the new girls came and she kind of fell behind, kind of like I feel like Bria did this at one point, but she fell behind and did not rush to embrace the new ladies like some of the other ladies did. So maybe she was kind of like isolating, and maybe because of how people saw her in the villa or saw her as a person, they probably discounted her. I don't know, and just felt the need to, like, hey, I'll tell her stuff, I'll go in and I'll share some things, you know what I'm saying, with her. Ain't like she gonna tell nobody, or she gonna do something. Like, I don't know, maybe they kind of underestimated Miss Seriniti. I'm not sure what that was given. But I'm saying this to say, I guess I could kind of see her possibly being isolated or feeling away while in the villa. But anyway, so they said, how have you spoken to him, or have you spoken to him since the villa? She says, I might have slid in his DMs a little bit. He did message me and we've exchanged numbers, and we're hoping to visit each other soon. Okay. I don't think anything is going to come up Seriniti and Tyler, but I do think in the long run, they are going to be really good friends. Okay. Let's keep going. Now, they said, one of my favorite friendships that we got to see was your connection with Zeta. Talk to me about that friendship. Who were some of the people that you really bonded with in the villa? She says there was a thruplets. It was Zeta, me, and Courtney. I can see that. She says we were the cutest little trio called the Powerpuff Girls. They tried to make me Bubbles, but I was Buttercup. We were just such a good group. We had balance in that group. It was just us always being brutally honest with each other, even if it was hurtful. We just knew we needed to be honest with each other. So those girls held me down in that villa. So then if they held you down in the villa, why would you feel like you were isolated? That was a little, that's the part that's not making sense to me. Okay. She says, Zeta and I always get emotional about Zeta because she was my rider in the villa. She heard all my secrets. We shared so many different things. We talked about our parents, we talked about our families back home, our siblings. We're very, very family oriented. All her siblings start with a Z. All my siblings names start with an S. So we just became so close beyond the villa. She says that's a friendship for life for sure. And Courtney, oh baby, she's so fine. It's what she says. Courtney was such a great gem to our group as well. The three of us together were just invincible. I feel like they have a little sexual crush on each other. Well, girl, hey, they definitely kissed each other. So hey, they got something together. She says, I had to take a step back. I was like, I have to sit right here and let them do their thing. We all love each other so deeply. And I know that on the outside, we're just going to be invincible. So maybe that's where things kind of turned for a left, where she kind of felt isolated, I guess, at some point, because she saw the friendship between Zeta and Courtney become closer and closer and closer. So she decided to take a step back. At least that's what it sounds like. Okay. Now, Casa Amor. Casa Amor is coming up in the Monday's episode. Which couples do you think are going to be strong, super strong, and which ones do you think might struggle? And she says it gets kind of hard looking at some of that stuff just because I'm no longer in there, and I feel a bit of FOMO. She says, because I knew if I went to Casa Amor, I would have had a lot more opportunities to find someone that was more of my fitting. And I believe that. So it's kind of painful sometimes to watch the show, but I'm supporting my people and I'm pushing through because I love every cast member in there. I mean, almost every cast member. There's always a few little lingerers or whatever. Okay. She says Zeta and Timmy. She says, I'm interested in seeing that. I'm starting to see the bits of Timmy. I'm starting to see bits Timmy did on his end. I was really very close to Timmy. Timmy got me through a lot in there. So I'm interested in seeing that. She says, I'm starting to see Isaiah and Sydney have a little bit. I don't know what's going on there. That's a toxic love relationship that we saw from day one. It's the dangly earring, baby. She also says, Deb and Jesse, I don't know. I don't see it. Jesse and I had a really good connection. And I think that was very helpful for Deb and that I was no longer there. Ooh, okay, that was not helpful for Deb that she was no longer there. Okay, that was helpful for her because she knew Jesse had a thing for Serenity. Interesting. Okay, I love Deb, but I think that was one of the things that made it hard for Jesse and I to talk because of my friendship with Deb. So I'm wondering if Jesse's going to be able to hold back if he were to go to Casa Amor. I'm more worried for Jesse if they go to Casa Amor because I don't think Deb is happy in her relationship, unfortunately. And you got a point. I think that she probably is going to choose somebody else and leave him out there to dry. What else does she go on to say? She talks about Kat and Chaz. Okay. She says, you already know how I feel about Kat and Chaz. They're going to do their own thing. They're not coming back to each other whatsoever. As soon as Kat heard that Chaz and I were having a little bit of issues, she saw her opportunity. Not mad at the girl. Get on the island, do your thing, and find your man. She probably will find a man in there better than I can. So I'm sending her all great vibes. And I feel like what she's saying by that is based on the dudes that they brought in, they're probably going to be more into her than they are into this chocolate woman over here. Okay. What else did she say? She says, I'm sending her all great vibes. We do gold and diamonds. Okay. She says, we do gold and diamonds, like I told her. And then Jeff and Naja, she says, I don't know about that one. I think it is a perfect opportunity for them to find something new. Okay. Jeff, that's her dog. She says she loves Jeff. We call each other cousins. He loves women. So he's going to be in heaven. I hope Jeff does find somebody. We're gonna see. I definitely hope he finds somebody that's for him. Now, the question is, does she wish that she would have pursued Jesse? Is there anything that you would change about your experience? She says, my biggest regret in the villa is not coupling up with Jesse. Wow. I told him that we had several conversations. There were bits that weren't shown, but Jesse and I did speak a lot in the villa. We definitely made it very clear we were very interested in each other. What? Jesse said that? I wanted him to come for me because it's hard being in the villa and I'm chasing everybody. I'm not desperate, but this is the type of situation you're in. You're put in a villa with the most beautiful people in America, and you're saying, here, free fall. Mm. Mm-mm. She said it was hard for me for a little bit. I feel like I was overlooked a lot in the villa, and she was. I'm not that. She says it's not that I'm ugly because you're not. It's not that I don't have a personality because you do. You were very funny to me. It's just how the cards were dealt. I know that when we first did our coupling, the host asked why I didn't step forward for Jesse, and it's just because he kept looking around. He was just so excited like a puppy. He did tell me later that that was one of the things that he did regret as well. He wished he would have chose her. Oh, but he said I don't deserve to be second, and he's right. Baby, I'm number one, so maybe I'll be a number one on the outside, and I'm sure that you will. So we'll see what's gonna happen. I mean, y'all may be able to rekindle in some fashion. IDK, we shall see. I know this was a long interview, but I wanted to read it to you guys. Unfortunately, it did not come in video form, so you had to listen to me read it, or you can go feel free to read it for yourselves. It was a really good interview as I'm reading, and I'm glad that Seriniti put it all out there and told us more about Mr. Chaz and the other people in the villa. Okay, but that's all that I got. I want you guys to go ahead and drop your thoughts and comments down below. Feel free to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at jamithatsme. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and make sure you hit that notification bell as well, honey. That's all that I got, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.